The following video contains language that may be inappropriate for young viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Welcome to Behind the Bars, where we bring the unseen and the unheard stories from the depths of the prison system to the forefront. I'm your host, Jason Boss, and together we'll explore the madness, the chaos, and the harsh realities hidden behind the steel doors of prisons worldwide. From the local jailhouse to death row across the world, we'll show you the isolation, the seclusion, and the decades spent enduring unimaginable conditions. These are the stories of survival, struggle, and humanity in places most of us will never see. We're here to shine a light on what society often forgets, the voices of the incarcerated. Each story is real, each voice is authentic, and every moment reveals the raw, unfiltered truth of life behind the bars. Join me for a journey like no other, a journey into the darkness, the truth, and the resilience of the human spirit. This is Behind the Bars, real life, real stories. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, I have with me Benjamin Lelan Granger, and he is coming to us from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and he has been doing time for quite a while. And I have the honor and I have the privilege to get him on the horn here as a guest. And Benjamin, how are you doing, buddy?
Today everything's all right.
Today everything's all right. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on here. How old are you right now?
56.
56.
Now 55. Big picture, they turn 56, yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been doing time right now?
As of this moment, since June 26, 2018.
2018. So we're talking quite a bit. Yeah.
Almost 7 flat.
7. Wow. Okay. And you've been in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. You are in which unit right now?
I'm on the wing unit, non-M wing unit.
Okay. And
in Huntsville, Texas.
Huntsville, Texas. That is a legacy place because it's, for anybody who's listened to any of my podcasts, it all goes down in Huntsville. My brother, how did you end up doing time? How did you, what are your crimes that you were charged with?
This go around, I have three things that dealt with failure to appear in the court. I was getting something dropped. Gun charge, threatening a police officer, which they called something that it wasn't, and a drug charge.
Drug charge.
1 to 4 grams.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 to 4 grams. They got me with 1.5 grams of dope.
Now, 1.5 grams of dope, back in my days, that was a teener. That was a half of an 8-ball. That doesn't sound like a lot. Go ahead.
Well, the day that I went, I bought 2.5 grams, and we did 1 gram or so. Then they tried to tell me that what I had was 3.5 grams, and I know what I had. So when they told me, I told the lawyer, I said, you better tell them to check again, because I'll guarantee you it's not more than 1.5 grams. And it's the same charge anyway from 1 to 4. And when they pulled us over that night, just before midnight, we were down the street from a church with a daycare center, and about 300 feet behind us was where the city park was at. So, in the state of Texas, they have these things called drug-free zones. So you have to be more than 1,000 feet away from some area where there's going to be children, a school, a daycare, a park, a church, things like that. So I was within that drug-free zone. So part of what's going on is I'm in the process of doing the 5 flat that comes along with the drug-free zone.
Wow. All right. So where were you born at, Benny? Where were you born?
Upstate New York.
Upstate New York. And how was life?
I'm a Yankee.
A Yankee. And how was growing up? Were you with both parents?
Yeah, both parents. Till they divorced when I was around 12.
Okay.
They divorced a little bit after I turned 12. They separated when I was about 11. We lived on a big farm. Most of my childhood was spent on the farm, collecting eggs, feeding chickens, milking cows, taking care of the pigs, feeding the cows, taking care of the garden when my dad wasn't around. And my summertime was spent gardening and cutting trees down, getting ready for the winter time. Because we lived in the middle of nowhere where the snow was waist deep on a full-grown human being most of the winter long.
Hmm. And how was your relationship with your parents?
My relationship with my mom was great. And until I was in my mid-30s, my relationship with my dad sucked.
Hmm.
Why
did you guys struggle?
Well, he was a dry drunk most of the time. He finally hit a spot where he got to a point in age, and he finally mellowed out all that stuff, and he realized what was going on, and so he slapped back on some of it. We spent 2 days on a golf course about 2 years before he passed, and we got everything straightened out between us. But up until that point in time, I'm the oldest of the five of us, and everything that he did, I got punished for also. Sometimes he would come at me worse than he would deal with them. So it was just, and back then, I remember when I was 4 or 5 years old, my mom threatening to spank me or pick me up by my arm and going to hit me with her hand, and some other lady in the store giving her a paddle, say, "Oh no, honey, don't hurt your hand here. Use this on him." That's how long ago I was a child.
Wow. And you lived. When did you leave your house?
Well, I was up a couple of times. First time I left when I was 16. I couldn't take living with my dad anymore, and I went to live with my mom. And then I got in more trouble living with mom, and they said back to dad. So around the time I turned 18, we got in a fist fight in the front yard, and I went to jail. Cops wouldn't let me go back over there, so I met him somewhere else, and he drove me back over there, and he already had my car full of all my stuff, and so I got in the car and left.
And this is when you were 18?
Yeah, when I was 18.
And when your parents split up again, when?
When I was 11, we were still in New York. My dad moved out to Arizona, and we were still in New York. We were still on the farm. And in the springtime, right around this time, he called and said, "Why don't you guys come out here? I've got a place." And so we had a big yard sale and sold a bunch of the stuff and put some of the stuff, the necessity stuff like beds and some of the clothes and stuff in a truck. Blue truck, Global Moving or United Moving or something like that. I think it was Global Moving. Because it was the cheapest company at the time back in the late 70s. And we moved up to Arizona.
And you think that was around 11 years old?
It was a month before I turned 12.
Okay. And
I remember that. I didn't want to do that at all.
Okay. And when was your first intake of drugs, of any kind of drugs at all? How old were you?
So it was shortly after that. Ran into the wrong kids. We ended up in a neighborhood that was it wasn't a bad neighborhood when we moved in, but before I turned 16, the neighborhood almost completely changed. I became part of the group that was doing things in the neighborhood, and it just, things escalated from there.
So
jail time and other stuff.
What was the first drug you used in slightly after 12-ish or so? Pot.
Marijuana.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what about the rest of your family? You're the oldest of 5 of you?
Yeah.
And how did anyone else in your family fall into the same traps you have fallen into?
Oh, yeah. All of us.
Everyone. Okay.
Yeah, all of us.
Has everybody done time?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, the brother that's just younger than me and the youngest have not done any time, but the other 3 of us have. I have a blood brother right now who's in the process of being released from the system.
Great.
Texas.
Oh, excellent. That's good news. All right, so what happened between 12 and 16 when you started getting into trouble? You moved in this new spot, started smoking some weed, and what did life look like then?
Well, back then everything was a lot easier. Like, get up early, do what we needed to do, go down to the bus stop, catch the bus to school. There would be mornings when we would all hang. There used to be this big tree that had a big empty spot around the trunk with a couple of rocks in there. We would go hang out under that tree because they couldn't see us from the road. And we would sit in there and smoke pot and smoke lines and eat pills and.
Okay, so when did you do your first line, or when did you get into more than just pot?
Shortly after I started smoking pot.
All right, so it just progressed.
And it was just because, the older kids, the kids that went to the high school, they came to the same bus stop. The bus stop for the junior high and the high school was all in the same place. So everything was available to us. And one of my friends always had a hooter in his pocket for school because his mom would leave it for him. And another one of my friends always had a handful of pills because, he'd say, "Oh, Mom, I need this." And he would sell the pills. He would do how many pills he had to sell to make up for what was needed. And we'd all get 4, 5, 6 pills at a time.
Do you know what those pills were? Do you know what you were taking?
Yeah, you remember on the back of the magazine where you could buy the yellow jackets and the black beauties, the little.
Well, hold on. It's breaking up. It's breaking up just a little bit. Like, are you talking like the NoDoz, the trucker stuff? Is this an amphetamine you guys were doing?
Yeah, but they used to sell these things. You could buy them.
Yeah.
For like $4.50. They'd send you like 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was a little order form in the back of the magazine, and that's what it was for back then. Late 70s, early 80s. That's what.
What was it? What was
things
this?
like that weren't regulated yet.
Right. And what was the name of these things again?
We had these things that were like yellow with a blue stripe in them. They were called yellow jackets.
Okay.
And then black beauties and black crosses and faith hearts and.
So it was uppers and downers then. Yeah. So
sometimes we would mix them just to see what was going on.
Right. And so this was pretty young. I mean, you were 13, 14-ish when you were doing lines and taking pills and smoking weed?
Yeah. By the time I was 15, I was already shooting speed and heroin every now and then.
So you say you were shooting, you were using the needle?
Yeah.
Okay. So when was the first time you used that needle?
Around my birthday when I was 15.
15. Wow.
The girls I know, I knew her dad used to get into doing stuff like that. I used to go hang out with him because I was helping him work on his cars because he really couldn't get in and out from underneath his cars. And I had all.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Boss, and I'm the host of Behind the Bars. First, I want to thank you for watching, sharing, and supporting our channel. This project means the world to us because it's about giving a voice to the unheard, the men and women behind the bars who share their raw, unfiltered stories of life, mistakes, redemption, and lessons learned. But here's the reality. Because of the nature of our content, Behind the Bars will never be monetized by YouTube, and that's okay. We're not doing this for the money, but to keep telling you these stories, to keep bringing you interviews from across the plains, we need your help. Right now, we're sitting on over 15 incredible interviews that are waiting to be edited and shared. We've got the footage, but we need the resources. More interviews mean more editors, more work, and a bigger team to make this vision a reality. And that's where you come in. By becoming a Patreon today, you're not just helping bring us these stories to life. You're also getting exclusive access to behind the scenes conversations and untold stories that won't be available on YouTube. These are the moments that take you deeper into the lives of our interviewees, as well as the challenges and triumphs we face while we are creating this channel. If you've ever been moved by one of these stories, if you believe in the power of second chances and in a shining light on the human experience, please consider supporting us. With your help, we can reach further and roll out even more of the content you love. So from the bottom of my heart and from all of us here at Behind the Bars, thank you for being a part of this journey. Much love to you, y'all, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Learned all that stuff from my dad and my grandfather because that's what my grandfather did. He was a mechanic. So I would go over and help him do this stuff, and as I'm helping him do this stuff, and he's like, hey, I thought about this. And
so this guy, the guy you were hanging out with, he how old was this guy?
He was one of the girls in the little group.
Oh, okay.
The little clique that we had in the neighborhood. It was one of the girls' fathers.
Oh.
And we didn't really have girlfriends. We had girls that would, sometimes it just depended on whose weekend it was as to where they were at.
And this guy taught you how to shoot dope?
Yeah.
Wow. What was that? I mean, how did that go down? I mean, the very first time, were the girls around? Were you guys alone? Or how did that come up?
We were alone. We were working, we were pulling a transmission out of his truck, and he said, we might be doing this for a while, and we need a little booster. And I said, yeah, and he said, well, here, we were talking about this the other day. This will give you the energy you need all night for sure. And he wasn't kidding.
And would you say that very first experience was the kicker for you as for the rest of your life of using drugs?
Yeah. Yeah. The only other time it was any good, I had spent a bunch of time doing church and getting ordained and doing things, and I was out of it for about 10, 11 years. And when I came back to it, that was the one thing I didn't want to do, and that was the one thing that I ended up going back to, and it wasn't the same, but it was a lot better than the way I was doing it when I came back to it.
And so, have you been shooting dope like all your life? Did you ever end up stopping, or is this just something that's always continued on?
No. For like I said, for about 10 or 11 years, I got into the Word and got going with a church, and there's this place in Kerrville where I came here from that's called the Empty Cross. The big empty cross, just like the outline of a cross up on the hill. Mm-hmm. And I was one of the volunteer chaplains and tour guides up there on the hill, and I was doing really good. And I don't know, just things happened, and I went to I went and picked up the guy in the middle of the night in the rain and ended up in jail for like 17 months. And when I got out, I just, about 3 days after I was out, I was up for a week.
Okay, so hold on real quick. Let me try to get this timeline. So when did you hit your sober streak, the 10 to 11 years? Do you know what age that was when you basically put the needle down?
Yeah, it was in my early to mid-30s.
Okay.
Early to mid-40s.
Wow.
But, yeah, it's around my mid-40s. And then I just kind of went back and forth. I didn't have to be high. I didn't do a blind side. My girlfriend at the time, we would drink a little wine with dinner, and that was good. And if I was gonna smoke a little dope or do either, I did it in the morning to get my day going, and then I didn't do it later on at night so that I could sleep.
Mm.
I became like a functioning addict to a point. I'd get up in the morning and do it, and go to work and do what I needed to do to get taken care of it, and come home, eat supper, and relax, and go to bed and start over again tomorrow.
So what was it? I mean, so basically from 15 to about 30, you were shooting something. Was it more than meth, or did you get into other stuff?
Oh, yeah, I was in heroin too real bad.
So like
the first time I came down off the heroin after I'd been doing it for about 7 or 8 years, not consistently, and that was not the only thing I was doing, but.
Okay.
When I hit a spot in there in my mid-20s when that was all I did.
Mm.
I had myself up to what I was doing between 3/4 of an ounce and an ounce a week. I know some people say, oh, that's not a lot. Well, that really is a lot.
Yeah.
When I came down off that, I wanted to die. It took 3 weeks to recover. And that was horrible. And then I did it to myself again between the ages of 45 and 50. I did it again. I got stuck for a couple of years and got up to do where I was doing a half an ounce a week. And when I finally came down off the head, I turned bright yellow. Wow.
And so, what do you think were the causes between, from 15 to 30 you were shooting and you kind of stopped at some point there for about a 10-year span. What happens, like when you were 45 to 50 and you got into it again, what led you back into that particular lifestyle?
Honestly, I think it was my little brother. My little brother showed up over at my house. My baby brother showed up over at my house and said, "Hey, you check this out, what I got." He came with the other brother that's just older than him, and he passed on now. But that kind of felt mellowed me out a lot when he went. But my baby brother just, I don't know. When my mom passed in 2001, I promised her I would take care of him. And shortly after that I cleaned up.
And is everybody that, in your family, or is everybody using needles, or is anybody not using needles?
Yeah, no, I'm the only one that did that.
Okay.
I'm the only one that did that.
And what, you're in your how old are you right now? 60? 55. Okay, and
yeah, I'm almost 50. You go by the birthday thing, I'm almost 56.
Almost 56.
But this is actually the 56th year that I've been alive.
Okay.
That I'm in right now.
And when are you up for parole right now?
July 2026.
2026, so soon. July 2026.
Yeah, a year and 15 or 16 months.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's what parole keeps telling me.
Right.
But from what my little my little sister said,
Mm-hmm.
the computer says that I don't come back up until January of 27.
Okay. Now, have you remained sober as you can be in prison?
Completely sober.
Okay.
I don't eat anything. I don't go to medical. I don't need anything from these people other than to let me go.
Mm.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
And do you think you're ready for that next step when you get out, that do you still have dreams of chasing the dragon, or dreams of using dope, or any kind of ambitions at all?
No. No, not at all.
And
not at all.
How's your health after doing these kind of drugs for this long?
Well, for a job, my health is really in really good shape. I'm a little out of shape at the moment because all they feed us is carbs.
Yeah.
And I'm only eating once a day right now. I'm only eating lunch because I have put on a little bit of weight. The last 3 weeks, I've lost like 14 pounds. So at the moment, my health is really good.
Excellent. Okay, I'm always watching the time on these interviews because I like to keep these podcasts around 30 minutes, and I want to give you the last little bit of time right here to give everybody out there a brief, just some of your wisdom, some of your experiences, some of the things that you've done wrong in your life that you can help others out there to prevent them from going down the same road that you have. What do you got that you can give to these guys out there?
Wow, that's a good thing. For everything that I've been through in my life, I'm so much of it. When I was in elementary school and then in junior high, if I would have stayed focused on what I was doing and stayed in school and doing what I was supposed to do, I would not be here right now. I would be elsewhere. Probably would have ended up a professional golf player or a professional hockey player. And this is the road that I chose. I chose to mess myself up and go down the wrong path. So I would say stay in school and keep focused on where you need to be, and never, ever let the Father and the Son go. Always keep them first in your life.
Absolutely. Now, for what advice can you give to those that are hooked on heroin, that are hooked on speed, especially with the needle? How would you advise them to break free from this?
If they're stuck in the spot, if they're stuck to the point where they can't function without it, they really need to seek help. Seeking help would be the
You have 1 minute left.
The seeking help would be the best way to save their.
And where would you send people for help?
If they don't want to seek the word and go to a church, they need to seek help through some kind of counseling. All right, bro. Yeah, you heard the minute.
Yep, it's almost over. So everybody, thank you very much. This is Benjamin Lelan Granger, and Benny, thank you so much for being on this podcast, and I hope I can get you on this podcast again very, very soon.
Oh, yeah.
All right, brother.
So do I.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks, bro.